Thanks. I just want to reintroduce everybody. This is part of our team, part of the K2R team here with Blue Star. John Keller. John's been in the. Can you hear me? Hello. Better now?
Just turn it up. No, just turn it up.
Turn the volume.
Forgot how soft spoken you are, dude.
Yeah. Talk a lot. I make up for it in volume.
There you go.
There you go. Anyway, John has been working with me now for about 5 or 6 years. We met out in the field doing investments. He's got a lot of experience with these types of investments, as you guys probably are aware of by speaking with him. Experience in real estate is 20 plus years?
Yeah,
20 years. Derek, a relatively newcomer to the real estate market. A lot of energy. When him and I met about 2 years ago, I felt like I was talking to myself again, kicking back 10 years. So very similar styles, and we're at the same places in our lives to make transitions into real estate. So Derek's a relatively newcomer to our team, but we really respect his opinion and feel like he really adds value to the overall group. Derek also has a lot of experience in this Oliver cluster that we visited today, so you may want to ask him some questions. He's had his hand on a few sales over there and is actually involved in a couple sales right now over there. So, any practical experience or practical questions that you have to ask him about the marketing of these properties, Derek could probably answer or get you an answer for. So anyway, we had a great time today. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the tour. We tried to give you guys a little piece of everything. Number one, I just want to say that there's, I think I saw a lot of enthusiasm out there today in the field. Hopefully you guys are interested in participating in one of the clusters or all the clusters. We have a lot of product. We have a lot of vacancies to fill. We look forward to working with everybody in the upcoming weeks here to try to find the right fit to have everybody invest in this type of product. So
everybody always asks the question, so I'll ask it. There's 100 people in this room. How are we going to get enough properties for everybody in this room?
Do they want 6 apiece or 4? We've got plenty of stuff. I mean, honestly, look, there's phases on these particular. We can't. There's not 100 properties on Eager Street, okay? But they're in the cluster. We phase into these things. Some of you folks are a little bit farther along than other folks. Somebody might be 2 months behind, and we can move you right into the marketplace. We have plenty of product. There's plenty of product in that Oliver footprint. Oliver's a little bit further advanced than the other clusters, and there's plenty of product in the last cluster, which was Duncan. Because that's far enough along where we've had a lot of time to do some acquisitions over there. And then Eager and Eden will have plenty of opportunity. I mean, this is a really good thing. We're going to probably be looking at you guys hopefully 6 to 8 months saying, hey, let's do it again. We had some successes. Let's re-up and do it again. So hopefully that's where we're going to be. I think you can tell we have some passion for it. We get out here and we talk. We're talking from the heart. This is not scripted for us. We really believe in this product. Part of the process is capturing the whole neighborhood. Yeah. So part of the process is capturing the whole neighborhood. You're not just going to do it as a one-off guy, okay? If you want to break off on your own and be a renegade, good luck, okay? Because it doesn't happen that way. What we see in these neighborhoods, even in Oliver, we can't control everything that everybody does in that particular footprint. But when somebody breaks from the program and they want to put subpar type of materials in these products and try to join on everybody's coattails, it just doesn't happen. So it's a teamwork, it's a team effort. The way we've built a team with K2R, that's why this opportunity exists. So we can get in front of you folks and say, hey, look, we really believe in this product. We really believe that this can really make sense. 6 months, 8 months, 10 months down the road. So anyway, what we're going to talk about tonight is mostly marketing. We buy the product. We get you into a deal. We start the rehab. Then what? You obviously want an exit strategy. We look at a couple different exit strategies here. I think the primary strategy in these clusters is a home ownership move, okay, which is a flip. All right, buy, rehab, sell. All right, that's not going to be 100%. Okay, in the perfect world, I think it would be 100%, and we would all, be going to the bank and doing it again. There's going to be some properties that, for whatever reason, aren't going to sell, or maybe we don't design them to sell. I think that there's going to be some hold in this product also. So for all of you folks out there that really are looking for hold product, opportunities will exist in these particular clusters. Anyway, but again, the first option for us is sales. I mean, we're promoting home ownerships. How do we do that? Number one, we go in there and we sell it as a new home model. We build a new home model. Everybody goes to like, I don't know what's popular by you folks, but Ryland Homes, Gemcraft, they have a model. You don't see the development. There's a bunch of lots with stakes in the lots and stuff like that. That's what we're trying to create here. We're trying to brand the neighborhood, trying to brand the new community. So I'm going to let these guys talk about it, ask some questions. If you have general questions for today, let these guys talk first about how we go and sell these properties and market these properties, and we'll get to any questions that you guys might have. I think it'll probably be easier because that way you can, if you have any questions, they may answer them in the course of their presentation here. So.
Hi, I'm John. I met a whole bunch of you. Had a whole bunch on my bus for our little tour. So me, Derek, and Keith are kind of like your boots on the ground kind of guys out here in Baltimore. This is what we deal with day in, day out. We do a lot of regular real estate stuff where we help people buy and sell houses. But primarily we're investment guys. We buy property too. We manage property too. We know exactly what you're looking for. So whenever I look at a property, I look at it from my perspective. Would I buy this? What would I pay for it? How much is it going to cost me to fix it up? What can I rent it for? What can I sell it for? I look at all those things. How long it's going to take? What is happening to this area? Is it an up-and-coming area? Is it an emerging market area? Or is this an area where I don't really have a good exit strategy for a flip or retail, but it's more an area where it's going to be buy and hold for 10 years, and down the line, I'll be able to sell it to another investor, my package to another investor. The areas that we're dealing in right now, they have both potentials. When we talked about Duncan Square, we went by there, Eager Square, and honestly, the next square, because we're branding this as our retail type product, and we're moving out and pushing out from the areas that you saw. So there's a lot of opportunity for more product out there, not just what you saw, more, enough for everyone. And that's the whole idea behind what we're trying to do here, is create these communities, getting away from doing these onesies, twosies that Keith had talked about before, but everyone getting in together, and it's a much safer, much easier, and it protects your investment to a much greater degree by more people doing in these areas. So we were going to talk a little bit about marketing. We didn't have I'm kind of like an off-the-cuff kind of guy, so we didn't prepare a lot of stuff for you. We could talk about various things, but we can also answer a lot of questions. We've been out here in Baltimore a long time. Keith, if you know Keith, he's once he starts talking, he's like a freight train. So Keith can probably talk, keep on going. And Keith's the kind of guy that's been out here. He was born and raised out here in Baltimore. I was born and raised closer to D.C., but I've lived out here in Baltimore, and this is where I work in Baltimore, so we know a lot about Baltimore, everywhere in Baltimore. Dealing with the KTR guys, when you work with investment property, you're all over the city. Good, bad, and the ugly. You're in the hood, you're in the good parts, bad parts. There's some parts, it's getting to be 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, the natives are getting restless, waking up, time to go back to the office. The good news is the areas that we're dealing with that you saw today, those are what the city referred to as the emerging market areas. These areas are the ones that we can fix, that we can repair, that we can renovate, that have a lot of upside. If I was just talking with JD earlier today about what Hopkins, that area around Hopkins, looked like 5, 6, 7 years ago, and it was a war zone. It's like you have this #1 medical facility here, huge facility with all these employees, doctors, nurses, everybody, and when they get off work, guess what? They're going someplace else. They're not living anywhere around here. Well, that has changed. That's changed a lot, and you can see the change now. And I can't wait to see what it's going to look like in 10 years, because I'm the type of investor, because I'm an investor too. I'm an agent, I'm an investor. The way I look at things is like, well, where's the next area? Where's an emerging area where I can get in cheap, buy low, sell high? What's going to happen in 10 years? This is an area that's going to happen. Everything's going to push up from there. Everything's going to push up from Fells Point, Butchers Hill, Duncan Square, and pushing up from there, pushing out from the signs from Hopkins. So we're building off of that base, building off of that anchor that is Hopkins. And you see what they're doing, the commitment they're doing. Over 1 million square feet of lab office space, and that's just the beginning. Because you kind of build it and they will come. We're building it and we're going to get more commercial. And I was talking to people today is that when the commercial doesn't come, the nice shops, the nice coffee shops, the nice things that people are looking forward to when they walk around, and when they're in the city, they want to walk everywhere to go and get stuff. Well, you don't have that as much in some of these areas. Well, that will come once you build it. The commercial guys will say, hey, here, look at all these new homes, look at all this opportunity. Here's the average income of these people in these areas. So that'll come. Build it and you'll come. So 10 years from now, you'll be glad that you came here. Maybe a lot less than that, but it's going to be a very beautiful area, and everything is going to be expanded out from there. But the great thing is that we can work on the fringes, build out from the fringes. You're just not in an island surrounded by challenging housing, but you're on the fringe of just building out. Like we talked about before, connecting the dots, and that's what we're doing here. It's a great strategy. So with that in mind, we talking about Duncan Square. That's one of our clusters that we're just working off right now and working on branding. We're doing a lot of different things that are unique out there. One is obviously when you deal in real estate, you're going to list properties on the MLS, and there's a lot of agents out there. That's all that they do. List that property and have someone else sell it. I'm not a big believer in that because these type of properties, you got to get out and market it in unique and different ways. And I come from a real estate side, I come from a marketing side, and I'm a big believer in branding, a big believer in creating systems and getting those systems working and figured out, and then taking them and working in different areas. And that's what we're doing in Duncan Square, that's what we're going to do in Eager Square, and like I said, that's what we're going to do in the next square. For Duncan Square, we built a nice website. It's on duncansquare.com. You can go take a look at it. We're developing a whole, real nice upgraded marketing pieces, so it's going to look like new homes, and that's what Keith was hitting on, is that we're treating these like new home sales, even though they're not like we're building them for lots, but for the most part, when you get these things out, you got a brand new house. So we're going to treat it like new homes. Here's lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, lot 5. Here's the ones that you're going to buy. We're going to pre-sell these things before we even build them. But we got to start that momentum. We're going to start the momentum right now by breaking ground on Chester Street out in Duncan Square, new model, and we're starting on 3 or 4 right after that, right?
Yeah, the concept is, again, you don't want to just have a one-off. I mean, if we had Eager, we want to go up with 7 sets of scaffolding on Eager. We're gonna have a model out in front of the group. Okay, we're gonna have somebody that's going to be the leader of the pack. Okay, we need to have somewhere to come and sit down people. Oliver had a model that they just actually sold the model and then moved it somewhere else, but it was out there at the front of the pack. Okay, you have to have a spot. TRF, that was their model. That's sold, but they're still using it as a model. They got a lease back agreement with the owner, the new owner. So again, we want to be out in front of the pack on 1 or 2 of the properties. But again, it's not just some one-off. We don't want to identify 15 properties and then just do one at a time. We get over there and do 15 properties. We want to have 15 sets of scaffolding up. Somebody goes there, they want to know that the 2 properties that are vacant next to them with busted out windows are being rehabbed now. They don't want to hear you say that they're being rehabbed. That's why we put all the permanent or the semi-permanent signs up. We're not just hanging signs out the windows or nailing signs on the doors. If you went and seen Duncan and Oliver, you've got a semi-permanent type of sign that says this house is for sale. We do that on purpose. I mean, you're going to see when you go up in that neighborhood, it's pretty impressive. Like every vacant house has a for sale sign on it. And everyone has a design in mind. Kevin, who you guys met, our designer, the process that we're trying to make is similar to a new house development. we're trying to just move walls. We've got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath model. We've got a 2-bedroom, 1.5-bath model. We've got a 3-bedroom, 3-bath model. And the point is trying to develop it so we can do cost efficiently. So, you know, whoever in this room has the 3-bedroom, 3-bath, it doesn't cost an exorbitant amount more than the 2-bedroom, 2-bath. You're just moving some walls around. You know, they're done very thoughtfully, and they're done with that whole development concept in mind.
Yeah, in people like options, so like we said, we're treating it like new home sales. We're saying, here's our standards of design. You know, green, efficient, you know, we call these upscale homes at affordable prices, and that's what we're promoting. We're promoting a very nice, beautiful product that's upscale to a degree that it's for us, it's, you know, it makes sense, you know, dollar-wise, but to the buyer, it's better than what they can get anywhere else. And we're adding options. They can have options. They can create their own house. You know, they can pick their flooring. They can pick their paint color. They can decide whether they want a rooftop deck or a deck out back. And we're going to make it very inexpensive, very affordable, because you know, once you start the ball rolling with this, friends have friends have friends. They're going to start telling people, and people like to move into areas where they know other people are moving. So that will spread. You know, a big source that I was talking to some of you about today is obviously Hopkins housing. A lot of not just doctors, but nurses and people that come to an area, interns that come to an area for a period of time. Instead of renting, they're going to want to buy, but they're going to want to buy inexpensively because they're not, you know, doctors that have been around for 10 years. Not saying that these homes are for doctors, but you get people that are in medical school. Guess what? Their parents buy them a house. Happens all the time because they're going to buy them a house. They're going to be out there for 4 years. They're going to rent out part of it. And for their parents, it's an investment. It's their investment because they know in 4 or 5 years they can sell that house, make some money too. So that's one of our sources. But we're doing things with Hopkins Housing. They got a new website that's coming on that we're going to be advertising on, promoting our products, promoting Duncan Square, promoting Eager Square, promoting all the areas that we're dealing with around Hopkins, because that's a big source of of buyers for us. But so that's one way. MLS, you know, signs. You know, and I'm going to have Derek talk a little about other things that we work with. He worked up a fantastic, really game plan for selling these as well, besides just listing them on the MLS. And we know a lot of people. You know, I think everybody in Baltimore knows Keith. So when Keith spreads a word about something, it gets spread. It gets spread. And I guess let me hand this over to Derek.
Just say a couple more things. Just to piggyback on what John was saying, we talk about Hopkins. Trust me when I tell you this. I've had conversations with the president of Hopkins. We've had conversations with the representative. They need these types of developments. They can't have their medical students getting killed on their campus. Okay? They need this type of development. And I'm telling you, they are more powerful than the Baltimore City government. Okay? They are the second biggest employer in the state. Okay? The average income is probably rivals the state income as far as like state employee income. I would guess it's probably 60 or 70,000, which is pretty significant. When we're building these properties, how many people thought when they opened up the first store, Earl's house or the house at TRF, that it was going to look like that? Nobody, right? I mean, you walk in these things and you're like, wow. I mean, these are nice houses. This isn't junk. I mean, this isn't lipstick on the pig stuff, you know? Right? This is good stuff. This is sustainable housing. This isn't disposable, okay? So, again, like I do, I mean, I get the wow factor sometimes, and that's what we want to do. We want to do it affordable. You know, think about this. The advertisement for TRF with their partnership is $99.99 or $999. $999 to live in that house. All right, you're going to take some risks. You're going to be a little bit of a pioneer. But we're not asking you to go out there in the wilderness. We're right there. You know, Duncan Square is right there. Eager Square, that's right there. So again, we're not trying to sell ice to an Eskimo here. You know, it makes sense. You know, it's affordable. It's you know, it's a great quality. There's energy efficiencies. We're building on all the things that people find important in this day and age. Cost is a big thing. We're looking at cost. We're learning from the things that we do. Well, how can we save $5,000? How can we pass that on? You know, it's important. Sometimes we're not even saving the $5,000. We're figuring out how we can take $5,000 more and upgrade the house even more. You know, the tray ceilings, the hardwoods, the sprayed-in foam insulation. I mean, these are all things that sell houses. I mean, look, Earl's house is about a year old. Who walked in there and didn't get the sense that, wow, I would live there? I mean, you know, not that I mean, it's nicer than my house, nicer finishes, I can tell you that much right now. So there's a wow factor here, and that's what we're going for. You all aren't going to come back here, get no deal, and come back here 6 months from now and think you're walking into an apartment somewhere. There's going to be.
I didn't have our wives on the tour because we got to go back and put new stuff in our house.
My wife would kill me. If she walked into Earl's house, she would be looking around at the cabinets and stuff, and we would be tearing out the kitchen tomorrow. So.
My wife would turn and say, when are we getting granted it?
Yeah, exactly. So, look, it's a feel-good thing. You know what? We're putting together a really good package, and that's why they sell, okay? Earl doesn't have to live on Eden Street. He chose to live there. And I keep saying that, it's important. These people that buy these properties choose to live there. We're in advance. It's like a military campaign. We've already been to Duncan Square. We're already associated with their community association. We're there with them. We're working with some different projects in the community to help people get jobs. We're there, so we're helping build the community, making it a better place to live. That's important too. It's community building. Again, you know, we all talked about it's not just building a house, building a community. So that's important. The other thing I just want to mention too, financially, the city, not only did they commit to the you know, some of the things that Michael talked about last night, they committed a lot of dollars to incentives for buyers to buy in these areas. So there's a lot of city programs. Hopkins has a Live By Where You Work program that's very successful. The top tier that Live By Your Work is $17,000. It's a $17,000 grant. It's not a loan or low interest or anything. They're going to give you $17,000. Now these particular areas are right outside their $17,000 zone. I think they're in the $6,000 zone. We believe that we have a commitment, I think Michael touched on this last night, is to extend that $17,000 zone to encompass Oliver, Eager, and Duncan Square. That's important stuff. I mean, here you have a house that we're going to sell market for $170, and you're getting $17,000 off. Okay, and then the city's going to come in there and give you $2,000 for just because you're buying. And then there's 2 other grant programs that we can apply for that are $5,000 and 3. There's just all kind of incentives that line up. Now you're not building you know, you hear me talk about building a neighborhood on subsidies. That's not what this is, because you got to qualify for that amount. You got to qualify for the 170. But at the end of the day, you're getting the 170 house appraised for 170, and your bottom dollar is 140. So a lot of powerful stuff, a lot of financially powerful stuff that's going on here. The city really needs this in the emerging markets. I mean, just alone to have Michael come out last night, Braverman, and speak to the group is just a testament to how serious the city is to having this stuff turn around. So I'll let Derek talk. Derek has a little bit more experience with the actual properties.
Hello. I want to piggyback on what Keith said about Hopkins and Hopkins being a force here in the city. And I think there's not one person here who hasn't heard of Johns Hopkins Hospital and the commitment they've had to East Baltimore. And I was talking to JB earlier, and you talk about over the last 10 years, and you think about what part of Baltimore has been talked about as far as revitalization. And it's always East Baltimore, always. Hopkins has invested so much into the communities around them. I'm sure you saw that today on the bus tour. And what we want to do is like build a bridge, you know. And there are for a long time south of Orleans Street is where, and what we were looking at today at the Duncan Square, all the better neighborhoods are south of that, and we want to build a bridge, you know, because all those neighborhoods that were north of Orleans Street were looked at as, well, you know, it's north of Orleans. Well, we're trying to kind of eliminate that. And I think what John was talking about as far as branding, that helps, and we have some strategies to help that. I am not the most internet savvy person in the world, but it has become a huge slap in the face to me over the last few years that, you know, especially with the demographic that we're looking to sell these houses to, 25 to 45, you know, probably making around somewhere between $45,000 and $75,000 a year. they get up every morning and they get on the internet. It has to be a crucial part of what we're doing. And I think there's probably things that maybe some of you know, maybe some of you don't know, but there's things that I've learned over the last couple of years about different social media. 2 years ago, I wouldn't even have touched a Facebook page. But now the reality is we have to do those things. We have to start reaching out because that's what they're doing. That's what this younger crowd is doing. And we want to get them. We want to get them to move in to our communities. And if we get them involved, we get the community involved, I think it kind of changes the feel of what we're doing. It's not, like you said, just a onesie twosie kind of thing. It ends up being, a community transformation, and that's what we want. But some of the other strategies, I don't want to get too far off base, but not just using the MLS, using our website and using links to our website through YouTube, posting out videos. I was talking to JB today about maybe getting some of this. Maybe you might see yourselves out there, on this bus tour, when you go on the website. But those are the type of things that if people keep seeing them, and people keep seeing them, the interest is there. And then the best tool, of course, is word of mouth. People start talking, they start talking to their friends, they start talking to their family members. Hey, I saw this thing on the internet. These guys are doing these great houses. They're very affordable. And that's what we want, because people, and you look at the economy today, what do people want? People want the most for their money. You can walk into a house and see what you saw today, and the next question is, well, how much does it cost? Well, it's $150,000. Wow, sign me up. Well, that's what we want to do. We want to sign you up, because no one's here because they just like hanging out in Baltimore. You're here because you want to make some money, right? Right. We like hanging out in Baltimore. That's what we do. But you want to make some money. You invested all this time this weekend to come down here, not to hear us say, "Oh, well, yeah, throw us your money and maybe we'll flip a coin and hopefully you get some money in return." No, we want to ensure that, and the only way to ensure that is marketing, branding, and I think one of the most powerful tools that ever hit us in the last, God knows, 100 years is the internet, and we have to be a part of that. Yeah, I think so. Some of the other things we're doing a little more organic, like having what is it? What are we calling it? Brokers opens. I mean, that's just traditional things where we want to get people that we know who've been selling to buyers in Baltimore City to come out and see what we're doing. We want to have the same reaction that you're having, like, oh wow, man, these guys are doing some good things. Getting or doing community projects, whereas we talked about earlier when we did the mayor's cleanup. People see us out there. They see us having invested in the community, not just our money, but our time, our energy, our sweat labor, and people recognize that. We're having a what is this? Not the block party. So what we want to do?
Big tent block.
Big tent block party. They did that up on Oliver. And I think it comes back to reinforcing this whole community feel, because people who live there are like, oh wow, things are changing. Things are changing around here. And even just to putting up the signs. We put up the signs on 2 major streets in East Baltimore, Fayette and Orleans. There's thousands of people go down those streets every day to either whether they're just going to Hopkins or they're traveling across the city. They're like, oh, things are changing. Things are changing in my neighborhood. The people in Butchers Hill, we talked to them and their community association. They're so excited about having us here. They're like, oh man, that's great. That stuff has been sitting up there vacant and dead for God knows how long. They're happy. And they want us. They want to put us, and give us some PR in their community association newspapers and things like that. And again, that leads to the best marketing tool is word of mouth, and people start talking and people start buzzing. And I think it's just a matter of time before we've totally just branded this Duncan Square, Eager Square, whatever square may be next, whatever cluster that we're going to, and we want to be the go-to. When people say, oh, I want a quality rehab in East Baltimore, I want to call Derek or John and Blue Star Realty and make sure that we're getting the best for our money. Yeah, and I think that's important. Am I missing something? Did I touch on anything I'm missing?
One-stop shop. You hear that? You hear that a lot. But working with KTR, working with obviously with Blue Star, and you have different exit strategies. We touched on that. If you decide, if it's not more of a retail flip, if it's more of a buy and hold, we manage over 750 properties now. We're probably one of the largest property management companies in Baltimore City. The big difference with us, not just to sit here and promote us, but big difference with us is that we're investors too. We know what investors want. I mentioned this before. It's a huge difference, and We don't want to get killed on fees either. You know, they manage my property too. You know, I know what I'm looking for, and so I hopefully, you know, can look out for what you're looking for if you decide to do property management with us or anybody, but we could always consult with you on that, and that's a lot of what we do. So besides the marketing of these properties,
I think that's a good point what you just said there, that
Yeah.
a lot of the people here, that there's a few people who have properties in Baltimore already that are not with us, and partnered with Blue Star, Keith, and these guys. And Keith's been helping them out. They've had some bad, let's just face it, there's some people out
Sure.
there that should not be in property management. They claim they are. They've been recommended by somebody because somebody just said it, a word or a name. These guys have been helping other of our members out of their deals. You know, when we go to doctor of deals, some of these people have been seeing some really bad wholesale deals is what happened.
Yeah.
You guys have done a tremendous job helping our other members out. We got about 4,000 members in general that a lot of them couldn't make it here today, but a lot of them have deals in Baltimore that we are helping right now. And we're proving to them that you can be successful here with the right people and the right team. So
Yeah,
you
it's-
guys have done, your reputation is out there.
it's important to have the right team, the right systems in place, and to get with the right partners. Because I mean, you know, Keith says it a dozen times. We all talk about it. You know, for all of us, like Blue Star, it's all about relationships. And you know, I was just talking with someone earlier. It's like it's not about signing contracts. I mean, I sign contracts with a handshake. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And you can, you know, it's all about integrity. That's in this business. That's what it's about for me. And it can be a very tough business when you're dealing with wholesalers and dealing with, you know, other investors, other real estate agents, other property management. You know, there's some sharks out there. You know, especially when we're talking about property management. You know, some just words of advice and give you just right now. You know, you can get property management for between 8 and 10% to manage your property, but that's not what you're going to focus on. What you're going to focus on is what's going to cost to fix up your property when they have to send someone out. That's where you get ripped off. That's the key. That's what you know. That's why we get a lot of investors that come to Blue Star Property Management because they got charged $150 to go out and fix a lock set. Or I got one guy that came on board because he's like, I never once got a full month's rent, you know, for 3 years. Because that's a property management strategy. Anytime anybody calls up, send someone out, we'll charge you 75 bucks for whatever it costs. It's like, it can be a ripoff. I mean, and that's what it is a ripoff. So not saying anything against any other property manager, but that's something to look forward to. It's the maintenance that will kill you. That's what you focus on. And if you have a good product, first of all, that's where it starts too. And so when you get into these buy and hold scenarios, always think about that. Is that what kind of maintenance am I going to have to do on these products on my house? Am I going to be getting a lot of phone calls? But kind of getting away from that. It's getting on my soapbox a little bit. Back to marketing. We have a lot of different strategies. We're looking at doing a lot of different things, but creating like Derek said, creating a buzz with these new communities. And we're going to do it Duggan Square, we're going to do it in Eager Square. We're going to have our tent party. We're going to have our breaking ground. We're going to try to get the mayor out there. You know, she's going to love it. Yeah, she's going to come out. We've got, you know, Michael Braverman on our side. It's great to work with. People talk about getting more product out there. Well, that's what Michael Braverman was talking about the other night, is that stepped up code enforcement, receivership. I mean, this stuff takes a little bit of time, but less than a year. You know, less than a year, we could have 40 new properties out there in Duncan Square. Same thing in Eager Square. And if they see that we're doing what we say that we're doing, and we're selling these, selling these houses, building these houses, we're going to have all the support we can from the city, and that's key, the support from the city, because they didn't do that before. And all the programs that they had, with the SCOPE program and these type of various programs that they had that did not work, we're going to show them that this program does work, and we're going to create it that is, it's a program that they can, the vacancy value program, with, hopefully with our help, can be very successful, and obviously with a partnership with all you as investors. Because once again, I said it before, we're investors too. When we look at it, we look at the exact same way, exact same thing, and we can help you to look at it that way with the K2R guys, and say, what am I going to do with this? What can I sell it for? Can I sell it?
And your point about, you have two of the largest forces in Baltimore City, in the city government and Johns Hopkins, and both of those those forces are in support of everything that we're doing. The city's been working with us very hard, to try to get us some of these vacant houses. I mean, it's not a good look for the city. It's not a good look for the community. And if someone's willing to come in and try to change that and change the look, I think that benefits everyone. Of course, the mayor's going to come out and make sure it look good. And so, we're trying to do that. And what we want to do is, in the end, of course, we want to look good, and we want to sacrifice the relationships that we've been building with Hopkins and the city. But at the end, we want you to feel good. We want you to feel good that, hey, man, I came down here, I put some money into this, I got some money back, or I got my place rented, or we got a fantastic product. Everybody's happy. And I think that's the most important thing, for us, is that everybody walks away a winner in these situations, and whatever we can do, we got to push a little bit harder. We got to learn some new things as far as marketing, and we don't want to leave any stone unturned, so there's no sense in having a huge inventory. You can't sell it. It doesn't make any sense. So our job is to sell, and that's what we want to do. Does anyone have any questions?
I got two.
I'm sorry, I can only have one question.
You don't know how to
He asked the question too, so I'm going to be this. This is a question I think everybody might have a little thought about.
Yeah.
All this talk about marketing, okay? What are the demographics of these areas? They're cluster areas for a reason, not
Right.
because they're vacant.
Right.
So give us a little inside information on the demographics that all this marketing is needed, targeted marketing specialists, creative marketing.
Well, I mean, the whole reason for marketing is so you can get your product out there. The more people who see it, the more people who are going to be willing to buy in. I mean, we all know who McDonald's is, but why do we know that? Because they're on TV and on the radio every 15 minutes, and that's what we want to do. As far as what do you mean? The question is what type of...
What's the hindrances to people moving into those areas?
I think the hindrances have been they've been vacant for a while. They've suffered from some urban blight, but also some of the neighborhoods that we were in today. They said 5-10 years ago you wouldn't want to be there. None of us would want to be there, and they ended up having bad reputations. I think when people came in and started rebuilding there, that started something, and it started maybe this can change. So the door has kind of been cracked. We just want to kick it open and just keep going. And if you look at, you saw the comparables today. It's not that people won't buy there. We just need more people to buy there. We want people to continue to buy. We don't want people to be fearful of going to Oliver. We don't want people fearful of going to Eager Street. We want people to come in and think that, people who love Baltimore, like this couple here, we talked, they were from Baltimore. They came back and what'd you tell me today? You hadn't been here in 5 or 10 years, and what, that corner of Caroline and Preston, you'd have been afraid to walk down there. But now, you got beautiful, nice rehabbed green houses over there.
See, it's not really a challenge, but the demographics are going to change. So we can talk about the demographics the way what it is now. That's going to be different. Just like the demographics of what Canton or Fells Point used to be, or what the Inner Harbor used to be. They've been reading a lot about what that used to be. There's no use talking about the demographics now because that's going to change because we're changing. And that's the whole point of what we're trying to do is changing those demographics. But if you have the support of the community groups that we do and the support of the homeowners that are few and far between in some of these areas, then you've got this, then you can create a better demographic.
Well, that's going to be the real power behind it, right? What the community wants to do, Hopkins and the city wants to do.
Exactly.
Because just because I got a good price, if I'm there about the area, those are the demographics.
Well, you could talk, if you were just to go out and buy a house and fix it up in an area by yourself, then that's when you want to be concerned with the demographics. You're going to say, what am I surrounded by?
Exactly.
Okay, and I'm surrounded by blight, or is it 50% board up on all these blocks? When is that going to change? It's not going to change because no one else is building out here. No one else is doing anything. There's nothing that's going to anchor this area and make it change because it's not tied into anything else. It's not tied into the water, the Inner Harbor, or to a major employer. So those demographics, you're going to be more challenged in those areas. You might get a great deal, and there's nothing wrong with that. And what I always say, buy and get a good deal, as long as you know what you're going to do with that product, down the road. How are you going to sell that? And your out might be to sell that one with poor demographics, but you're into a house for $30,000 or $40,000, but you're getting $800, $900 rent. And you have 10 of those, 20 of those, you're doing okay, and then you can, when you retire, you can sell those off, maybe not to a homeowner, but to another investor, and meanwhile, you made $20, $30, $40,000 over the course of time, and now instead of the house being worth, you know, $40,000 or $50,000, it's worth $80,000, and move on. These areas are a little bit different, so those demographics are going to change.
And not only that, Howard, but this isn't buying a house. This is a
United Front.
Well, it's a strategic plan. I mean, look, everybody was on Eager today, the first stop we had. The south of Eager, when you turn around and you look at those properties, not imagine what's behind you. When you turn around and look at the street across you, every property's fully occupied. Right. You would have no problem moving into that side of the street, right? All we have to do is turn around and figure out how do we rehab this side of the street. So we're not going out and picking a property and trying to fix it. We're just expanding off of an area that's already there. So the demographics are already there for us to start to buy. We just need to expand off of that and keep moving out. Everything that we've done, it's either going towards an area that is established or it's coming off of an area that's established. On the Duncan side, we're building off Butcher's Hill. On the Eager side, we're building off of the community that was already established below us 10, 15 years ago, and we're just moving forward. Going up into the TRF area, going over to where Oliver's already at. So everything's already in place. We just got to start building towards it or building out from it.
All right, next question I have is about financing. Okay? I don't know what all the financing is involved here. That's why I have to ask this question.
Yeah.
You're not buying a couple of houses, you're buying 10, 15, 20 houses. Okay? So it isn't just hard money lenders or private investors. What do the banks feel? What kind of financing will be available for that kind of purchases?
Front end money, it depends. We're working with a couple different banks. We're going to have meetings with them right now. We're in the process of having meetings with them. Back end, we've got some banks that are set up, but we're going more towards the single family home ownership. So the front end money, a lot of it's going to come in as working capital that we have with the group right here, or it's going to be more of a hard money type source where it's going to be a little bit higher, a little bit more expensive financing. But you know, if the numbers work with the deal, then the numbers work with the deal.
So the big power is the money, the capital that's coming through this group.
That's part of it. I mean, we've. How many people in here have been approved for hard money right now? I mean, raise your hand. Every person that just raised their hand is approved for a $150,000 property. So the money's not coming from capital in this room. The money's coming from a small portion of it's capital, but a large portion of it is financing.
I hope we're not missing a boat here with, I mean, that everybody's thinking this way. What they're talking about, John, and you guys are talking about marketing. Yesterday, as much as we all enjoyed the cocktails and all that stuff and built up and we all got checked in and we were all together, each of you made yourself money. Michael Braverman was scheduled only to be there for 15 minutes. The man's a busy man. He worked all week. He specifically said to me, he said, I cannot believe how real this is. You were good people. He was watching you go through the line. I was with him. He was watching you guys get your drinks. He was watching you walk around. He said to me, he said, I've never seen a group this powerful and for real. He's seen all the deals we have, the deals we've done. So when you say the power of a group, yeah. So now when we go to M&T Bank, it looks like this week is Michael Berman's going to say, you're not going to believe the power of these people that we have. They work, they have jobs, they're retired, they're solid citizens, we've got good people. How can we make this happen with the group, with Blue Star, with everybody else that we have? We've got great contractors. They've seen the work. You saw the work. Pretty good work. You guys got houses. How's your houses look? Fantastic. This is marketing. This is what we do. This is why we put this together. If we were just K2R and we didn't come down here and show some love and spend a little bit of money down here, you know, we all think about $1,000. In reality, to make 40,000, 50,000, I don't know, whatever your house ends up to be, when you decide to sell it or flip it or make it, it's not much money in the long run. You got to spend money to make money. So with these guys, what they're saying is their marketing is they're right with the internet. They're good. You guys seen Keith answer his phone? You see Keith's phone going off. Keith introduces. These guys got teams specifically for us. Keith walked up and said, you know, Danny. There's Danny. He's a field. You know, when we met them, he's the field manager for K2R. What we were, they were. Oh, got up off their chairs. They said hello. We love working with you people. Why? Because you know what you're doing. And if you don't, you have a resource to come ask us. Y'all know the phones ring now. You know that Donna's answering her phones. You know that we're answering our phones. You know that we're answering emails. Except for this weekend, whoever's probably trying to contact us. You guys are like more important than ever right now. And we'll let them know that. But, you know, and that's why we partnered up with these guys, because it does take marketing. It does take people who are doing the right job. I can't have them be doing a bad job and try to put lipstick on a pig and say we're going to do something right when it's not. That's wholesaling. That's somebody saying, oh yeah, I got this crew and I'm great and I'm going to run a meeting and come buy from me. It's not that. You know, and then you're at a meeting and 4 people, 5 people all bought from the same person may have had a bad deal, because that's what happened down here. When people hear about us coming to Baltimore, did you hear about Sally? Did you hear about John? Did you hear about Kevin? They got bad deals. Well, yeah, because some guy who never did a deal in his life came down, and you can go down, you can have house hunters, and they're in a district or an area that's bad. And I say, Keith, can you guys go fix it? And he's like, oh dear God. We'll give it our shot. You know what? These guys have fixed properties in bad areas. I'm not kidding you. Amazingly, we have some people that weren't.
They prefer to take care of good property.
Yeah. That's why they're not going to have us in bad areas. Their life becomes much easier in the areas that we're showing. But understand this, and a lot of people, I don't understand how people don't understand marketing, but I also don't understand how people don't understand me that I can't run a computer. I'm like you. Me and computers, I piss Chad off more than you know, but I screw them up. If our system ever goes down, it's probably something I shouldn't have been doing with it, so, by the way. But marketing is, you are marketing yourself right now as a group. This is going to go viral. This is going to go big. We're not going to have enough properties. I mean, let me check that. That was a Miller Lite slip, and that was on camera. We are not going to have enough investors right now. We're going to have to go and recruit more people, because you guys are going to, you want 5? Okay, do 5 each. But we have more deals than that. We have more deals to do. We're going to have a plan. We're going to sit down. We're going to get you guys signed up. You're going to get deals. You're going to talk to these guys. We're going to make sure these deals work. We work with these guys. We talk to these guys all the time. So think about that when you think about marketing. And what they're saying is right on, spot on. And that's why we like working with. Chad and I are very big marketers. Think about what we did in 6 months and how big this company got in 6 months. And we left for a little while. And all that turmoil and all that stuff. And everybody's now seeing, whoa, Linda Dubs made $1 million already. Dick's got properties coming out. Now we can't stop Dick from buying properties. You know, Mike Yards thought we were crooks for like 6. No, just kidding. We just can't get Mike to pull a trigger. That's all. But it really is. It's the power of. I mean, we're sitting up here talking to you, when in reality we need you. Chad and I are investors. Yeah, they're investors. But how much are they going to better investors are they now because the power of the streets that we do? If it was just the 4 of us, we don't have a shot in hell the mayor coming up, or, hey, yeah, we're staying at the Hyatt, we're going to go over and eat crabs. Can you come see us? No, we'll get a small room to make it look big, right? That doesn't work either. So you got to think of that when it comes into play. Why do we like Keith? Keith knows how. Chad and I have been in meetings with these guys, and they know how to turn a room on with with people in the city that make the rules. But how do we turn it on? Because we have the proof. You guys are, you know, do you guys all know that this all started with Linda Dubs? She took the leap of faith with us.
Yeah.
Only because her husband really loved our radio show, I think, as he said.
Hey, he found you guys.
Yeah, he found us. He said, oh, I hear you're coming back. When everybody went away from us, Linda Dubs went out, she took the leap of faith with us and started buying our properties. And then she bought another one, then she bought another one, and then she bought another one. She's still buying them. What are you up to now?
6 in Baltimore and 4 in Pennsylvania.
6 in Baltimore, 4 in Pennsylvania, and then I'm going to tell you right now, it's not a secret because you already let it out that your house is paid. Her life is paid off. She has no bills. She has nothing. She is buying. Her kids are going to be so set. It's not even funny.
They have to earn their way.
Well, no, yeah, right. And that's not what I tell them. Don't go to school. Your mom's got a house for you. Don't learn that stuff.
They can't do that at homeschool.
That's all. That's why they're not here this weekend. Stay away from Scott. But this is what it is. This is the power of what these guys are saying. It's the truth of what they're saying, you know. And just think about that when we're out there. And you guys did a great job. I mean, you know, when you applaud to those guys, you know, Michael, he was generally, I cannot tell you, they don't, or something like that. He hasn't just shot off an email to me to say thank you when I didn't get to thank him first. That's pretty impressive.
Yep.
And we had a half an hour conversation just watching you guys, and you didn't know it. And I was bragging you up. Like I said, I couldn't remember your names, but that's why I told them to do that. Stories. You're working on a ski hill, you're a mogul, he owns the... No, I'm just kidding. I can remember stories. But it's good stuff. And you have to remember that when we do this, when we go into these cities, this is what they want. You know, they see Tom, Dick, and Harry come by all the time.
Right.
But nothing like what we're producing now. So anything you do with banks and anything here, it is the power of numbers. So.
Real quick, we'll have one more question and we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to go, because we got to get back for the dinner so we don't get too far behind. Go ahead, Tim.
Do you mind if I relate that story with Terrence from Eager Street? Yeah, do it. That's a great. Go ahead.
I don't know the story.
Yeah, and they're talking about marketing. You don't realize what you were marketing yourselves today. I don't know, when we got on the buses at Eager Street, we're all listening to the gentleman standing on the steps. Did you see Terrence from across the street get up and walk over to the van? Well, you all headed for the houses. I'm an old Dutchman. I believe in the old philosophy of whatever, I think it was J. Paul Getty said, whatever everybody else is doing, do the opposite. I went the other way. And I went to Terrence. And I introduced myself. He told me his name. I said, how long have you lived here? He said, I've lived here for 16 years. I said, what would it mean to you if that side of the street looked like your side of the street? And he said, it would mean the world to me. He said, but we're facing a different problem. He said, we need to focus on getting jobs. And that's where Hopkins comes in.
Right.
He said, we're so accustomed to 45 years of the mentality where we are taught to rely on the government to provide for us. He said, with this No Child Left Behind program, our kids are coming out of school, they can't think for themselves, they don't know a trade, they can't work for themselves. We need to change that. Now, this is a guy a little bit younger than me. So this community is beginning to realize that the old way of doing things is not working. And they're beginning to teach, these guys are marketing toward a younger demographic. These people that are looking at buying these houses that we looked at today are not going to be the let the government provide for me mentality. They're not. They're not going to be that way. And that lady that drove up at the other stop in that white Ford Explorer, the two guys were sitting on the sidewalk playing chess. She got out of the car, walked over, and said, what's happening? You know what the first thing she said? Where's Danny? Danny heard it. There was a gentleman standing on that little block of mulch around that tree. And she said, what's that guy doing standing on that block of mulch? I heard it, Danny heard it, and he nudged the guys, get off the mulch. That's how close attention she's paying to her community. They're listening, they're watching. And this is the kind of clientele that these guys are marketing. I was impressed by that guy that stood there, and he realized what the problem is. It's not the blighted houses, it's the mentality and the education of the individual. And they're seeing.
So much that the next house we went to has to play chess with the other two guys. Come on, it's their game. Get on.
Thanks, John.
No, thanks. You're our next vice president of marketing.
Hey, Dan, is it possible to get one question from property management? Just one question, please. Earlier, John, you had said earlier about property management companies ripping people off, and you mentioned something about really not about the percentage fee as far as what they charge 8 to 10, but really people getting ripped off on what they're charging, like $75 to have them come out. What do you guys do differently as far as like in comparison with that example of $75 to come out? Do you guys do something different?
Well, the first thing, you got to start at the very beginning. The first thing is educating that tenant that they have to treat that house like it's their own. That's the first thing, it's the mentality. So they're not calling you about every little thing.
Right.
Some property management companies, that's how they make money. You call me about fixing this, okay, we'll send a guy out. Call me about fixing this, we'll send a guy out. We don't want that. So you start at the beginning, treat this house like it's your own. You break something, you fix it. That's what I tell them. When I go over these leases, you break something, you fix it. You stuff something in the toilet, it gets stuck up, and we get it out of there, it's a toy.
It's called accountability.
Yeah, we're gonna charge you, but it starts there. So it starts with letting the tenant know how they have to treat that house and not to call about every little thing that breaks or that happens, because they'll call you. Guess what? They'll call you and say, hey, my drain's stuffed up. You know what we tell them? Go out, buy some Drano, put some Drano down there. We don't send a guy out to go and unclog it, because guess what? It's going to keep happening. Some companies will do that. We don't do that. It's those little things that make a difference, because I'm telling you, I want that $50, $75 in my pocket, that it would cost you. We do things a little bit different. We charge, just a flat fee for per hour. If we got parts, we charge you what it costs you at Home Depot. These type of things. We based our business, and it's Keith's business, based business on volume. That's where we make up for it. Not on nickel and diamond, 50, 100, 200 people, but it's based on growing this business and having a good group of people that believe in us. Because guess what? Guess what's going to happen? When you guys, when the investors that we deal with that own those houses, they need help sell those houses, we're going to sell those houses too. And that's what we do. That's what we work with them on. So we want want you to be happy because you're our client as a property manager. We want to make a tenant happy because we don't want to have to turn over. So we know that tenant turnover costs a lot of money. Guess what? I don't want tenant turnover. So we also believe in servicing that tenant and treating them right. And then giving you an extra strategy down the road when you're ready to sell, when you're ready to do something. We can either turn it over to another investor because we work with Keith, probably the most investors in Baltimore City. We touch the most investment property in Baltimore City than any real estate company. If you drive all around Baltimore, depending if our signs are still hanging, you'll see a lot of blue star signs. And the reason being is that we have a lot of stuff out there.
I'd like to thank John, Derek, Keith, Carl, Wayne. Can we give everybody one more big round of applause?